So this is a little bit of an update to the question that I had posed about, why my African violet is looking all stunted, and as you can see, the flowers are small, stunted, the leaves are cramped, they're like fighting for space. The leaf petioles, the stem should be a lot longer than that, And so it turns out that what the problem is, after having some dialogue with Plant Prairiegirl and doing some research outside of that, is that it's receiving a little too much light. So the light fixture is only less than, I would say, 10 inches from the surface of the leaves here. And because African violets are a forest ground plant, so they actually are in the very bottom of the forest. They're like native to South Africa, and they don't receive a lot of light at all. If you're a plant in the bottom of a forest, then your light requirements are going to be very, very small. So, and on top of that, she and a couple other people recommended that maybe it needs to be repotted. I mean, that's not really that, I don't really think it's really that pot bound yet, but it could probably use a little bit more space. So anyway, I was looking at a site, I should say channel, Rick L. Orchids, and he was having a similar issue with this. So he actually has his African violets at about 18 inches from the light fixture. But then he also, in repotting, he was recommending that when you put your plants in the pot, that you make a little wick. And here I put a little piece of coffee filter, and this is just a piece of like acrylic yarn. And then he's also saying that you put some gravel on the bottom of the pot, because what happens is that you put a little bit, if you use all soil in the pot, then the plant is just gonna sort of languish. The roots are gonna languish. They're not gonna really require that much space on the bottom. This is probably a little too much gravel. And then so the soil on the bottom just kind of stays wet, and I guess the roots don't grow down or whatever, I'm not sure. So anyway, so then that causes other issues, which I'm gonna just adjust this wick. Alright, so I pulled it out a little bit so that it's not getting too anyway, so I think what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna pop off these bad flowers. I'm gonna cut this. I guess I can just use my hand. I was watching the video of Plant Prairiegirl. She repotted her African violet. She divided it and she repotted it, and man, she was brutal. I mean, she did a lot of, she actually left very little roots on the plants. Essentially she had just made she made like, it's almost like a cutting, I want to say, an African violet cutting, rather than just repotting. So I'm not going to be that brutal. I'm just going to sort of just manhandle the roots a little bit, this root ball, kind of break it up a little bit. I'm doing this thing with my one hand to kind of flatten the root ball a little bit, and get some of that soil out of there. Alright, so I'm just going to dust that dust that dirt off in a minute. She also, Plant Prairiegirl that is, she also was very brutal with picking off the old leaves. I'm not gonna be that brutal because honestly I just don't have the heart. But I'm gonna take off a few of the leaves. I've seen lots of people do this also. You know, these leaves on the bottom here aren't really getting very much light, and they're not really serving the plant much. They're getting shaded out, they're not really helping the plant, and they might actually be sucking energy rather than giving energy. So, yeah. I am making a massive mess. I'm going to clean this up and then I'll come back. Okay, so here we are again. I cleaned them off. I got the backs. Actually, what I did was I used water. I just went and put the plant under the sink. I used tepid water and I just rinsed them off. And then I'm drying the leaves a little bit too. So where's that thing? Here we go. So now I'm blotting the leaves dry. Now I saw I guess she's a semi-professional grower in New Jersey here. She shows a lot of plants, a lot of her African violets at shows and things like that. And she says that she washes her violets all the time with water, just water. And I guess, you know, the thing about the water is more about the temperature. If you use cold water, because a lot of people are concerned that, you know, getting the leaves wet and all that. I mean, if you think about an African violet in the forest, you know, I mean, it's going to get wet from rain and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, I picked off the flowers as well. I took all the stunted flowers off because they're not going to do anything. And so now I'm going to take this and put it, just repot it. I think I need to take a little bit more gravel out. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to repot this. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that on camera because this one-handed thing is for the birds, I'm telling you. Meanwhile, I got this, oh, it says American Seed. It's American Seed, but I got this from the Dollar Tree, the seed starting mix. This is actually the same kind of stuff at about the same ratio of peat, perlite, and vermiculite that you know, African violet mixers use. So I'm just going to use that. I think the only difference perhaps is that some African violet mixes have some fertilizer in them, which I don't necessarily want because, you know, I want to be able to control how much fertilizer I put in. Anyway, I'm not going to do this on camera because it's a little tedious and boring. So I'm going to do this off camera. I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to try and maybe manipulate the root ball a little bit more. I think I might need to take a little bit more soil out. Holy cow, I just... Back to square one. Whatever. Anyway, I'm going to manipulate this ball a little bit more, take some more of this soil off, and then I'm going to make sure this is low enough, and then I'm going to repot it. And when I'm done, I'll show you. Alright, there you have it. That's done. Nice new pots. I actually made this pot back in college. So, I love that cobalt blue color. Anyway, so we'll see what happens now. I think that this is going to be a good thing. Meanwhile, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about the light requirements. I think I'm gonna make some kind of jury rig situation and just have it sitting over here in this corner, because that's a good, nice, bright, sunny spot. And meanwhile, I got all these leaves. These leaves are, this one's damaged, all the other damaged, so I'm not going to try and save those. But these I think I'm going to try and reroot, or not reroot, but I think I'm going to try and root them, and maybe I'll have some plants to share. So yeah, in the meantime, I wanted to, I guess, let you know that I'm going to be doing my winter sowing next. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to do that right after this. And I also wanted to mention that this is actually just chick grits, which was left over from growing chickens. And, you know, those bigger rocks are just, I don't know, gravel that I found somewhere. I don't even know where I got it from. I think my husband had it. So yeah, so that's it for now.